No.
All
All
right.
right. Well, okay. Did you hear all that? That Matters Live, bringing you change that matters, entrepreneurs and innovators who are
The good news
changing the
is we
world.
had
The
a
important
really
thing is
cool
yes.
news intro,
We
which I
did.
liked a
It
lot.
it
That
threw me
was fun.
off. It kind of threw me off. It was the first time we tried that. He's always trying new things because he's an innovator, and he tells me usually like the second before, which is what he did just now. So, thank you. Anyway, this is my pal Shane Snipes, and I'll tell you how innovative he is. He's actually created this entire medium. He's created this format for the show. If you were in here right now, and our guest will confirm that later, you would feel like you were in a spaceship, like a kind of cool spaceship, you know, a little bit of color, slide back here, something to look at, cameras all over the place, but the
We
cameras
got
are,
social media going on.
we
That
get
Matters Live.
Twitter, we have everybody with That Matters Live at Shane Snipes. You can hashtag sharing econ, but you know what's going on here. We have laptops, we have iPads, we have lights. And Shane Snipes, my buddy, is the creator of this really cool popular road show called Eco Road Trip, where he went to 48 states and interviewed 1,000 people on sustainability. I don't know how he did it. It's kind of awesome, right?
It was fun. It was a
Yeah.
blast. Get to talk to so many people.
Well, did they like you, or did anybody? I mean, people talk to you.
They did, and they weren't too scared.
They weren't scared of you?
Yeah.
One day we're going to have to talk about that. We actually did part of a show on it to really talk about what the country's like when you go from 48 states. So what happened? You didn't want to go to Hawaii or Alaska?
Yeah, those are the two I didn't
Yeah.
make it to.
Right.
And at the same moment, just to let you guys know, I'm here with Monica Mitchell, who is the creator of Good Bee, good-bee.com, or Good Business New York. And what her main purpose is to highlight social purpose business. How are businesses creating products and services that are solving social problems? That's where we're going. And she's been recognized for it, actually. And the Washington Post has
Yeah.
her as a standout company.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. Okay. And there's
And-
more.
Yeah, there is. And there's lots more. You guys can see
Yeah,
it there
no,
on
we
the
got it.
screen, too.
Yes.
There's lots of things.
Cool. So we're going to be talking today about the sharing economy, and we are in the Center for Social Innovation. So talk about sharing economy. I mean, at least there's 300 entrepreneurs here, 300 innovators, and they are about as cool as you can get. I mean, there are people doing so many different things. One of them is Drive Change. And this is a really innovative entrepreneur named Jordan Lexton, who was a teacher on Rikers Island, believe it or not, for middle schoolers and high schoolers who were incarcerated as adults for relatively, you know, we're not talking murder here. We're talking other things that kids will get in trouble with, and if they're not, they don't have opportunities that other people have. And she was really disturbed that 16-year-old kids, 15-year-old kids, 17-year-old kids, 19-year-old kids were put in with hardened criminals and were not, after one time, and were not even given a fair chance to get into the mainstream and really to see life from a different place. So she has created a program that is so inspiring. It's called drivechangenyc.org, and you can check it out online, but there are food trucks all over the city of New York. And today they are going to serve us lunch in here and our guests, because we're going to share lunch with our amazing guests. Right?
That's right.
Cool.
Today is a day of sharing.
Yes,
We've decided
sharing.
to share as much as possible today. What an exciting opportunity just to get out there. And I think that's one of the things that we also need to focus on is really what is this idea of a sharing economy, right? The idea that you can actually have connected economies, connected people inside the economies. What are the individuals doing? What can the communities do? And then how do startups play into that? What are the ways that we can create economies that truly share and create change to solve social problems?
So can I tell you that I actually I had a sharing economy event this past weekend, which is like been around forever. So sharing economy is taking an old idea and making it new, and we're going to talk about that, seeing it in a new way. But I had a garage sale, and I mean it was right in front of a garage, which
a true garage sale.
It was a real garage sale.
She's from Jersey, so of course she has
well,
garage.
you know, garage, yeah, okay. I'm from New York, but I have a house in Jersey. That's how I have to say it. It's like it's in the 6th borough, New Jersey. So it was fun. It was great. It was fun. I mean, it was like 8 o'clock in the morning, and I hadn't even had my coffee, but I had pulled everything out the night before and hoped that it didn't rain. And I heard thunder, but it turned out to be fireworks.
Oh,
oh my God! I thought it was going to rain.
I'm so surprised because usually when stuff like that happens, you're like, no.
I was like, oh my God, thunder! Oh no! And then I'm like, no, that's fireworks because there's colors coming out of those things.
Oh, that would be helpful.
Yeah.
To know,
yeah.
Absolutely.
So I had it all out already, and I didn't have anything tagged, so like nothing had a price on it. But the going price was like 50 cents to $1.
Nice.
So like $5 to $2.
So
I
she
mean,
made like $5,000.
No,
she
not
had
quite.
at least 5,000 things to sell, so that was like $1 each.
I did, and they all came at 8 o'clock. Okay, that's all I'm saying. And they were very chirpy and, how much is this? How much is this? Oh, I love this. I'm going to take it. So they just went off, and they kept asking me how much it was, and I kept saying $1.50. So I have no idea what they took.
Okay.
Maybe gold.
So to connect your sharing story, when I lived in Park Slope, where the guest is from today, Evelyn Badia, she
your bud
neighbors.
BFF. I'm gonna
Wait.
I'm gonna arm wrestle her.
Economy moment where we were actually on the sidewalks every Saturday and Sunday. People would leave stuff because people clear their house out. They leave books. They leave little chairs, things like that. So twice a year, me and my friend would have a yard sale. And it would be a pink champagne yard sale. And it
you
was
would
amazing.
Have pink champagne. Okay, amazing. And you'll find out why later because you'll know it's very appropriate.
So we collected all that stuff, and then we got it out to people, and we made a little money too. But more importantly, I think it was this idea that stuff is around, that people have left over, excess, and it's being used. And that's really what the sharing economy is.
It's totally about that. I mean, the rest of the things that I didn't sell, I'm actually going to give to the vets because they're looking for things. But the point is that, and nothing was junk. I mean, I don't give junk or sell it to people. I don't even try. But what I really found out, no, I just have too much stuff. You see, I'm clearing out. I don't want to buy anything anymore. I want to share everything, including lunch today. But you know something? The people were awesome. I met all these people I never knew. I mean, like, I've had this house out there for 10 years, and I don't even think I ever met any of these people. I never go anywhere. I go in the car, and I go to the city, and I stay in the city, and then
Everyone
I come back.
Does the same thing.
Right? No. They all know each other.
Yard sales and garage sales.
That's
Otherwise,
true. That's
true. Another way we
connect. That's it. That's how it is. Well, okay.
It's either that or at the pub, right?
Well, let's talk about New York, which is really my hood. You know what I mean? My home base here. New York. What did you do this weekend? I want to know.
Oh, I had a great staycation. So it was really cool. It's one of those things where you really take advantage of the things that you have, friends offer, and so I was able to go
out to poverty.
No, I was able to actually go out to Park Slope.
You went to Park Slope? You went to Evelyn's?
Yeah.
Yeah,
a staycation. And so it was a chance to really hang out with an old friend. And the sharing economy has had a transformation for her life. She's going to tell us that story of transformation. Yeah. But that was sort of me hanging out with a friend on July 4th. A couple of other friends came over on Saturday night. That was my
Do you have any friends in Sicily or any islands like Capri in Italy or anything like that? Because I'd like to hang out there next weekend. That's where I want to go. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
You want to have a staycation in Greece.
I want to have a staycation in Greece. I wouldn't mind that. That'd be nice.
You want to stay in Greece for good. That would be a staycation.
No, I don't think I want to stay there for good because their sharing economy is not doing so well. But, I would love to talk about what's going on in New York. We do this thing in all seriousness, and we're crazy and we're funny, but there's some things that really get us going. And one of the things that get us going is the tale of two cities in New York where you have this disparity of income that is absolutely unbelievable, getting worse every day. Nobody in particular's fault. It's a system that's kind of been broken, and we're trying to figure out how to fix it. That's part of what we do here. We bring in the entrepreneurs and the innovators who are part of fixing it through social impact. They're creating solutions, and you'll hear two of them that are really cool. Shane mentioned Evelyn. I also want to mention Andra Thompson, who has the most amazing product. She is actually innovating solutions to something that's really big, and that's hunger in New York. And she's got an app that is cool, and we'll tell you how it works when she comes out. But in the meantime, what do you think about Mayor de Blasio, who's changing the city? We had Bloomberg here for what? Bloomberg was here for like 35 years, right? How long was Bloomberg here? 35 years? Evelyn, she's out there. 35 years, Bloomberg, right? I mean, my whole life. I'm 36. So, yeah, sort of. Anyway, my whole life, he was here. We never knew a city without Bloomberg. All right, Giuliani was here when I was a baby. Yes, that's true.
Giuliani was the mayor when I was
He
here.
was cool. He was cool. He was very cool because New York. What was New York like when you first got here?
It had become gentrified. It definitely had that sense that real estate was sort of taking a huge uptick. The dot-com boom was happening when I first moved to New York.
Was that in the late 90s or something?
Yes, exactly.
Right.
99 was the first time I was here. And I was able to really see how the disparity was transformed a neighborhood that I lived in.
Yeah.
Park Slope to a neighborhood now that's, unless you invested then, there's no way you could afford it unless you're two people making six-figure incomes.
Well, and a lot of people in New York are making six-figure incomes, and we'll talk about
But not
that.
both people.
Well, maybe some people, yeah, sure they are. But that's what the whole thing with de Blasio is doing. De Blasio is saying we want more diversity in the city because during the Bloomberg era, a lot of the systems in place that actually Mayor Koch had created years ago, or maybe Giuliani created them, I don't really know, but it was all about the middle class and supporting the middle class and creating subsidized apartments like Mitchell Lama. I know three people that live in Mitchell Lama apartments. And
I know no one, and I don't know anyone who knows anyone either.
No, well, now you know somebody who knows somebody.
To actually get access to those is so... It's like winning the lottery. Probably your odds are better to win the lottery than to get.
Well, you can't get them now.
Housing.
You can't get them now. But Mitchell Lama was a program that I have a girlfriend who's the one of the pharmacologists at Harlem Hospital, and she has a Mitchell Lama apartment up in Harlem. It's really beautiful, 2-bedroom, really nice, looking over the Harlem River. Yeah, well, I'm not just sure how beautiful that is, but she looks over the Harlem River. And, that's a Mitchell Lama apartment, meaning it's subsidized and affordable. And obviously she makes a good living, but she's a middle-class person. I mean, she's not making a great living. She's not going to be able to live in the city that she was born in if she didn't have that. And then I have another friend who is a fashion designer, and she's been sick now. She had breast cancer, so she's retired, but she would not be able to even live in New York if she didn't have one on the Upper East Side. Then I have another friend who's a director in New York, a theater director.
So we hear all these people who have that.
But
what about all the people who don't?
There you go.
There's so many people who do not have that because the initiatives that launched all those, the lotteries that gave enough of an inventory of affordable housing are now few and far between.
Do you have that?
No.
No, I mean, it's like you share an apartment, right? I share an apartment, and I happen to be sharing an apartment with a woman that has been here forever, and she has a beautiful apartment, but if she's also rent stabilized. So she's a professor. So the thing is that there is a need for middle-class people in New York to be supported by the affordable housing, and that's what de Blasio is trying to do.
I hope he can really do it. I really do. I have high hopes for that. I did want to bring up a shout out to one of our good friends who just got the Echoing Green Fellowship.
Brittany, hey, Brittany Martin. We love you.
She's in Singapore,
BFF.
and she's amazing.
I don't know. Is it hot over there? It's really hot here.
So her whole deal is her father was in an accident, and he became a quadriplegic, and he happened to be in a really good hospital that had great facilities and great educational tools for him to learn how to be disabled and how to live in the world, because really we don't design doorknobs and a lot of other things for people who are disabled. So it's those little things that really keep people who are disabled from getting anywhere. But more importantly, the disabled people who aren't born that way and become that way because of an incident have to learn to be disabled. they have to learn what it is to live a life.
Yeah,
and
you
be
don't
ready
think
for
about that, right? So she's creating a
So she's
platform,
creating a platform that does that.
a global platform,
Yeah.
and we are excited. We'll bring
People
her
who are
back.
disabled sharing their life skills with other people who are disabled.
Yeah.
So not doctors sharing, but actual people with disabilities.
And there'll
What
be
a fantastic
resources.
sharing.
Yeah, cool. That's actually true. That's a sharing economy. But let's introduce Evelyn.
Yes.
You know her more than I do.
Absolutely.
I just actually met her today, but we are now BFFs.
Oh,
I'm going to arm wrestle her, though. Go.
Definitely. So Evelyn Badia, come on in the studio. She's going to walk right in here. I want to welcome her and give her
Yes.
always do
Had a
the
present
hug.
for you, but I don't.
All right.
Hello,
Yes.
how are you?
Evelyn, thank you so much for joining us
I didn't want to
today.
kiss you on the cheek because, it's the lipstick. Yeah, it's the squishy, that cherry lip gloss. How are you?
I'm
Oh.
good. It's actually a pleasure to. Yes. Oh, I know he's like just.
Yeah.
He's pushy. It is a pleasure to be here, and thank you both to Monica and to Shane for asking me to come over and share a little bit about the sharing economy.
Yeah, it's
and
so cool.
I have to share a little bit about Evelyn. So Evelyn and I are amazing friends because we happen to be house hunting, because this whole sharing part of what we're talking about with your work is house sharing. So we happen to be looking at houses at the same time, and we ended up, it was Valentine's Day, right?
Yes.
And
10
was
years
with
ago.
my ex, and you with your friend.
Like a big heart.
Yes.
Oh,
and it's-
lovely.
and you're wearing
Amazing.
pink,
And
I
I'm
know,
wearing
it's
pink, very
perfect.
lovely.
Yeah,
He
so we
likes
got these
pink
great
champagne.
things. Yes. Absolutely. So that's how we met, and ever since then, I've seen a transformation happen when the sharing economy came along. And I want to hear that story, like, again. I know you shared it in all kinds of media outlets.
Yes, I have. First of all, thank you. Thank you again. Yes, the sharing economy. I was not thinking about the sharing
just gonna
economy.
touch
Yeah,
you
yes,
right
go
in
ahead,
front of
touch me.
Yes.
It's all right.
Touch you.
It's all right.
All right.
The sharing economy.
Now we're going to black out. I'm sorry. No. Go
Yes.
ahead.
Back in 2010, let's start over. 10 years ago, I met Shane. I bought a house. I was very fortunate to be able to buy a house in Park Slope. I'm in the south slopes, but I'm still holding on to the idea that I'm
She's in the
Park
hood.
Slopes. I'm in the hood. It is a beautiful neighborhood. It's more of a working class, and actually, Bill de Blasio's house is 5 blocks from my
Holy
home.
cow, you're living near. I'm
Yes.
camping out. I got things to talk to him about.
Oh, look,
All
I
right.
know where his house is at.
All right, we're
I
going.
know, and I don't live
I'm-
in one of the brownstones. I have like a little frame house.
So let me ask you a question though.
Sure.
In the winter, was your street shoveled? Did you get plows over there quickly? I know
I
you did.
don't recall.
I know you did. Don't say you don't recall, because if
I
you were on the Upper
don't
West
recall.
Side, you would have recalled that they didn't come. And if you were on the Upper East Side, you would have known they didn't come. I'm just saying, like.
I
lives
don't
in the-
think.
Here's her take on that, and I disagree with it 100%, because I think what de Blasio did is he reallocated, instead of having all of the plows going to Upper East Side and the Upper West Side to clear everything out for all those people who supported Bloomberg. They basically said, no, we're going to redistribute them and make them equal for everyone.
Yes.
I think the Upper West Side actually voted de Blasio in. I'm just saying that. Go ahead.
Yes. Well, 10 years ago, I was fortunate enough to be able to afford a house, and only because I had an apartment from before that I sold. I did that wonderful thing. I would not be able to buy a house now in my neighborhood, or actually be able to rent an apartment in my neighborhood at all. And I lived there very happily. I had a roommate, so it's not like I was living there on my own. I had a roommate who was sharing the rent, and I had a long-term tenant who was also able to afford the house expenses and everything else. And then in 2010, when the economy did a little shift, just a tiny little bit of a
Just
shift.
the biggest, financial crisis in 100 years. Yeah, that shift.
That little tiny shift, with it went my career as
Wow.
an advertising agency producer. I've
Wow.
always freelanced, so
Mhm.
it's not like I had a full-time job, but I was freelancing for a particular client for 4 years, and I was not getting any work.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah, I mean, and I was
Standard.
prepared for it. I mean, we're smart people. We're not
Mhm.
young, and we're very. And as a
I don't know
freelancer,
about me. I'm
I know
young,
you're only
actually.
like 36,
Yeah,
but I'm
that's
not
it.
36. And because of a freelance, and I knew it was coming. I knew things were happening, and it was sort of like you hear the rumbling. And I had thought I was safe because I passed the 2008 oh my God, Lehman Brothers is going down. 2009, like, oh my God, the world is ending. Everybody's going down. And it was
They did go down.
2010.
They did go down until they went up.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Yeah.
So in 2010, my career went down with the economy, and I didn't work for about 5 months. And it was like January until May. And in May, I went for a job interview, and it was for a project in August. And I was saved. I mean, I had saved money, and I was okay financially, where I could ride it a little longer than that. But mentally, is the idea of not having a place to go, and the idea that you're pulling money out and not bringing any money back to replace it, and then you start thinking, well, how much longer can I ride this wave and this economy uncertainty? And I wasn't the only one without work. There was tons of friends of mine that were without work, and it was just enormous. I saw an article in the New York Times, and back then the New York Times loved Airbnb. And
doesn't love them now? They don't
well,
love
I think it's a hate, love affair.
Airbnb.
It depends who you
That
ask.
sounds familiar, actually.
Yeah, it depends who you ask.
Sounds like some of your relationships, I think.
Yeah, I'm not talking to you about that.
So I found Airbnb. I rented out my bedroom and moved out to the basement of my friend's house, who lived up the block, became her nanny for a couple of months, got a job, but I got a booking immediately. And my first guest was a professor of innovation from Amsterdam, Ed. Ed came to New York to pick up his son and created my world.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. I mean, and it's like, how would I ever meet a professor of innovation?
I don't know. What's his
Never.
number?
Exactly. Well, and he came back to New York 2 months later with his entire family. His wife is a police chief over there in Amsterdam. So
Chief. Oh my gosh.
exactly. So that's how I started sharing.
And did she bring drugs with her? Because Amsterdam's like a big drug.
No,
Police chiefs, it's legal there. They could smuggle it in.
Yeah, I know, but I think being the chief police, I don't think she would.
No.
Yeah. So, and that's how I started, and that's how I worked that year for about 5 months, and then in 2011, I worked 11 days the entire year in my career.
Wow.
So I was able to afford my home, pay my bills
By doing Airbnb.
by just doing Airbnb completely.
So let's talk about that. Brian Chesney, actually, he had a quote. You gave me an article. One of the homework assignments I had this weekend was an article about Brian Chesney.
I'm so glad you're doing your homework that I assigned you. I feel like such a good teacher now.
Yeah, he's such a pain in the you-know-what.
And the question is, what is the reward?
Yeah, what's the reward? Oh, my God. I don't get beaten, right? No, he is a professor. We have to say that. He's a professor. He teaches, but I love to read and I love to know. So it is actually pretty cool. He sent me these articles about Brian Chesney, who's a little controversial now, but Airbnb, he said, was ushering in the golden age of sharing economy. And I agree that this is like a golden age. It's something really new. Not just the sharing economy, but the entire social impact economy. But he said that a lot of people have written to him, and I don't know if you're one of them, to say, you saved my house, because if it wasn't for you, I wasn't working for so long, I wouldn't have known how to survive.
Yes, I mean, the amazing thing with Brian Chesky is that he has created a platform. I mean, the sharing economy has existed before. There was back in the days when boarders would stay in people's houses. This is not new.
Well,
One
we've had B&Bs for like
exactly. You've
forever,
had B&Bs, but back in the recession, back in the 30s, you had people staying.
People would open up their homes.
I mean,
and
exactly.
Borders in their home.
And we'll have
There was a
borders.
pressure.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
So it's not new.
Yeah.
What Airbnb did, and Brian, Nate, and Joe, which are the founders, what they did was they created a trust and a facility.
Mm-hmm.
There was Craigslist before Airbnb, and there's VRBO, and there's a lot of other sites, but Airbnb used the sharing economy conversation, and then created a platform that it was an ease for the host, for us to upload, and for the guest. And it created then different tools about verification, insurance, and all this other stuff. But he was there for the perfect storm.
Right, and he gave you an affordable, easy way to access that. Otherwise, you'd have a hard time becoming a B&B, and you'd have to use Craigslist. And pretty much it's the same thing that eBay did. I mean, it was just the brilliance of taking something old, something that's classic and traditional, like garage sales, and throwing it up online, which is really amazing.
Exactly. I mean, and the beauty of it is, you know, the guys, as I call them, the founders, they're just
The
three.
guys.
I know the
Do
founders.
you know them?
I do.
right,
They've
well-
actually been to my house.
Well, then bring them on the show. We want to
Yeah,
talk to
well,
them.
whenever they're
Totally.
back in
Come
New York,
on.
I will.
Brian, he's not bad, you know. He's kind of cute.
Yeah, no, actually,
Brian,
Brian is really.
he's pretty
You have
hot.
to check out his pictures online.
I know. We've seen him.
You know,
Well, actually, he has posters on his wall, but I'm only saying.
yes. The founders, the beauty that they've done with their company is that they've created a community,
Right.
and we are very much vested, probably idealistically and probably not realistically, as if we are part of their company, as if we are another founder. Unfortunately, we don't get their money.
No, well, you
We
get
just
the
get the
money.
host's money.
Right.
The asset that Airbnb has is actually all the host hosting all their houses on the site. Without the host, there is no product.
Yes.
Airbnb doesn't exist.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
that's it. So that's why they take care of you, and I think that's pretty awesome. I love what they're doing, but let's talk about what's going on in the city of New York. Eric Schneiderman, who was like the district attorney of New York, he said when he became district attorney he was going to go after the big banks who actually created the huge, in part, they created it. It was a lot of reasons, but they were certainly part of it. The mortgage markets that crushed the system and created the financial crisis, of which I was one of the fallouts of that as well in 2009 and 10. You know, he said he was going to go after the banks and sort of, you know, go after fraud and go after all kinds of things to balance the economy. And instead he goes after people that are trying to survive by renting a room in their apartment or their house or whatever. And he's put it at the top of his list, hasn't he?
Well, it is. He's backed by the hotel lobby. He has stated that he's with them, but he has also done some things against the hotel lobby. When Sandy happened in New York and the prices went up in hotels, Airbnb hosts were able to, and I was one of them that gave out free housing to displaced people.
Did you give out free
Yes.
housing?
Yeah, for
Okay.
30 days. No money
Wow.
was exchanged, neither from my part
Mhm.
nor Airbnb. We never collected any money
Mhm.
from any of the guests that stayed in our places. And there was hundreds of us that opened up our homes, and we were able to do it because we know how to do it. We've done it before. We know how to be able to open our homes to people. And for us, it was sort of like, we don't want to just send out more sheets and towels and clothing that people don't even know what to do with them. They need a place to go to sleep.
Right.
And a place for them to feel safe for a minute.
Mm-hmm. So
Wow.
he supported that.
So Bloomberg actually supported this, and they gave us great kudos to Airbnb because there was no money exchange.
Okay.
Once money exchange happens, then it creates a different entity. But the reality is we are not hotels. Per the law, because I've read it, we are not hotel. We do not provide the same things that a hotel provides, and therefore we do not have to pay the sales taxes and occupancy taxes that hotels pay.
Has that been determined? Is that the law now?
Well, that has been the law always, and it's been written and part of the Attorney General's, and I am very involved in this, and I'm very much an activist, and I mean, done a lot of other press about it. Part of the agreement between the Attorney General and Airbnb was to notify all Airbnb New York hosts of an Exhibit A, which had like a lot of links to different things from zoning and licensing and taxes and all these different very confusing things, because you try to ask 5 different lawyers and each one has a different answer about what is the law. But the part of it is in reference of taxes and the additional taxes, because we do pay personal taxes on the income. The income is reported to Uncle Sam. We get a 1099 from Airbnb, and we pay taxes on it.
So Airbnb gives you a 1099.
Yes, they
That's
do.
cool.
At the end of the year, you get a 1099 from Airbnb, and it gets sent
Well,
to
what
the
I
IRS.
love about it, can I tell you what I love about it?
Yes.
I wanted to ask a question first, and it's
Sure.
around the idea of, the sharing economy is a little different than a boarding house or some of the other things that exist in that space. How do you think it's different, though? Because there is a different aura to the sharing economy. It's come out of this idea that because the internet exists, I can now present these resources that are underused to everyone.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I've even had a wedding in my backyard. I never would have had.
Right.
You know, and there is, believe me, I know there's some other platforms out there about you utilizing tools. This is sharing tools, this is sharing time and things like that. Like I have tables in my backyard that I only use 3 times a year.
But you know what? We know what's so interesting about it. It's like it's beyond that. It gives people that are visiting New York a place to stay that doesn't cost $500-600 for a hotel room. I mean, I saw your place, and I think you have some pictures of that. Are you showing any of them? It's gorgeous. I mean, you did such a beautiful job. I mean, I would love to stay there. And it's like anywhere from $100 to $150 a night for this incredibly beautiful place, and you're their host. So I think that's what the sharing economy is. It serves both people. So people couldn't afford to come to New York for a while, and so now they can come again, if on all different levels, all different income levels. But I think on a bigger picture, what the sharing economy does is it disrupts the old system. Like it was almost like the corporate world. Owned and controlled. It was like a royalty, like an aristocracy, and nobody could break it for God knows how long. And the truly American thing about the shared economy, which I'm just writing an article for the Huffington Post on it, which I absolutely love, is it breaks all the rules. It's like Americans that came here back in 1700s, back in the 1600s, even before there were Americans. It's that old style, take your life in your own hands. So Americans have been doing this over and over again. My grandparents did it, my parents did it, and I'm first generation American. So there was my mother came here from Germany, and this is like you come here with nothing. I mean, she came here to be a model, so she actually had a job. But my grandparents on my father's side came here with absolutely nothing, and he became an entrepreneur, bought hotels, bought real estate. It's that story of creating something from nothing. And what I love about this is the only way to really be a force against this corporate stronghold that was across everything is to join in a community of millions of people that are renting their homes, that are sharing the economy, that are selling their stuff on eBay. It has supported a tremendous amount of people in this long, drawn-out recession and unemployment. So I think the whole model is incredible.
Yes, I mean, and there's going to be some changes to it with it. You have now not just the home sharing, you have car sharing, you have tool sharing, time sharing if you have it. It's about having some excess, especially as Americans, we have capitalism and you have all these things that you don't use and that you might want them for once a year, twice a year, but that somebody else can utilize, and you could just say, hey,
That's true.
Rent those chairs for $1 a chair instead of buying new chairs, and then bring them back.
Have you ever been on Yurtle? Okay, Yurtle makes me crack up because Yurtle is so like Bay Area, Berkeley. Yeah, come on in, guys. Okay, this is who we told you about. This is Drive Change.
Wanted to serve you guys some of our
All right, Drive Change. This is Jordan
Oh my
Lexton.
God, thank
this
you.
is the entrepreneur, Jordan Lexton.
Lovely.
Yay! Cool. All right, guys. Awesome.
Oh, here you go. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah,
Thank
you're
you.
welcome. We appreciate it.
But now your name is
TJ.
TJ.
Yeah, hi. How are you?
Hi.
TJ.
What's your name?
My name is Darius Jones.
Oh, oh yeah.
It's not good. It's the 30-second rule.
So good. It's exactly.
It's like 30. It's exactly.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jordan. I'm the founder of Drive Change. We're a food truck social enterprise. We hire and teach young people coming home from adult jail and prison, provide transferable skills. All the sales from our truck recycle back into our organization. We serve delicious local fare. So this is a maple syrup themed food truck called Snow Day that we operate and run. And it's our first food truck. You can find us all over New York City. And it's a great, wonderful experience. We're happy to be here, happy to give you guys lunch today.
Thank you.
So this is the famous maple grilled cheese from the Snow Day food truck.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Yeah.
I love your tattoos. Give me a hug.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Enjoy
You guys
lunch.
rock.
Enjoy
We
it.
love it, but you have gluten-free stuff too. So just
Yes,
so everybody knows,
do.
it's not just grilled cheese.
No, maple syrup is in everything.
And
All
you
upstate
guys
New York.
cook it,
Oh,
right?
We
delicious.
do everything. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you guys.
All right.
Thank you, thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
See you.
Thank you.
See ya.
We'll let you know how it is. Okay, we're gonna share it now.
Very important.
Yes.
Thanks, Jordan. I love it. She is so cool. But Andra, All right, you've got to share lunch with us here, okay? Because we have lunch.
You're next.
Kenny, grab a grilled cheese here.
Yes, yes.
This is for you guys. Oh my God,
Thank you.
this is like they just made this, and I feel like I'm Martha Stewart, and well, no, she doesn't talk like that. Excuse me, I'm Martha Stewart.
And you're sharing the
and
economy.
this is a little bit of a plate. I don't know how they did that sprinkle of the maple. I'm not sure I like that. Here. Larissa, you can have some, honey? We actually have it. I'm gluten free.
Yeah,
I
so
cannot
it
have
is.
it. No, I can't.
Yeah, I'm gonna
But,
have it.
but he can eat everything.
I can
Yes.
have 4.
Yeah, bring Fred.
And he does.
Anja,
Yes,
we're
hello.
so into seeing you. This is Andra Tomsa, and she's from Spare NYC, which used to be called Spare Change New York.
Yes.
And it is an app to actually, when you go out to dinner and you have something like this, you can round up your bill to the nearest dollar or even more. You're going to maybe make something for 99 cents. So every time you go out to dinner, you can opt in for 99 cents and donate that money to Spare NYC, which 80% of it goes to feed the hungry in New York, which is like 24% of the population apparently.
It's
2
a lot
million
of people.
hungry.
It's really actually very shocking.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason I was inspired to start this. Is I started looking at the numbers and this hunger epidemic that is so alive in our city, and I thought, oh my gosh, we have to do something about this. And I wanted it to be accessible. Do you want me to expand a little bit on the app?
I definitely do want you to. I just wanted to say this is sort of the next part of the sharing economy is actually sharing in a different way, right? It's this whole episode's about sharing. And I think what your app does, it actually allows people to share a little bit often. Does that
Yes.
make sense?
And on a larger scale too, it creates that community and village feeling that happens when you do have a sharing
That's
economy.
really beautiful.
I think.
Yeah.
And that really is my greater purpose to this, even more so than closing the meal gap, is to empower a city to act together. So the way that it works, I'll just expand a little bit. So yes, you can go out to eat at your favorite restaurant, and you can round up your bill to the nearest dollar at the end of the night, and it's always going to be 99 cents or less. And we, who partner with the Food Bank for New York, we send quarterly, we send the money that we raise from these roundups, and that money is converted into meals for New Yorkers. They spread that money out to over 1,000 locations around the city. And every dollar that they get, they convert into 4 meals.
Wow.
So even 50 cents creates a really big impact. And I am in the camp that believes that people should be rewarded for doing good things. So I've created this system of incentives. And restaurants around the city participate. We're up to 20 restaurants now. I'm
great.
hoping to sign 100 by the end of the
Oh,
summer.
you're definitely.
And,
we're gonna help you do that. We're
I
gonna
actually
promote the
haven't-
heck out of this.
I
Isn't that
haven't been
great?
told no once. So
No, of
I've
course
I've
not.
approached 22 restaurants and I've gotten them all. So I'm really excited. But essentially, if you go and you round up at a participating restaurant, you will get rewarded. So on your 3rd roundup in a month at all of these places, you will get a free cocktail. On your 5th
And
roundup
if
in
you
a
don't-
month,
If you drink straight vodka, you're good.
yeah.
Where is that vodka?
On your
Would you
5th,
have some vodka? Have some.
um,
Have lunch. Go
I'll
right
have
ahead.
some
Break
vodka.
bread.
and on your 5th roundup in a month, you get an
Yeah.
appetizer or dessert free, and on
Beautiful.
your 10th roundup in a month, you get
My
$15
vodka
off.
glass.
So it's created to be a win-win-win. You know, the user, you're donating 50 cents on average per roundup. So, you know, you're giving $1.50, you're getting a cocktail in New York that's like a $8 to $16 value.
It's a win-win.
And
There's no way.
you're helping to feed people. And also in-app,
Right.
you're able to track how many people you fed with how much money you've donated. Not only you personally, but you're able to see how many people that use the app or how many people have been fed through the use of the app on the whole.
So let me ask you
So-
a question. The volume is what creates the impact, right? So you have to
Yes.
get sheer huge volume when you're talking about 50 cents, because let's face it, we're in New York. Even cheap meals are not cheap. But I want to go back a little bit and talk a little bit about you, because you have such an interesting background.
She's an amazing background. We also have.
Do you want to take a break?
Yeah.
Oh, because I wanted to talk about her. Okay.
Let's do this, and then we'll dive into you because I'm really.
She's
excited to
got
hear
something
about
really
your-
cool behind her.
I
Yeah.
know.
I told you.
Explore the
I
stories
wanna
of
tell
what
them.
both of you guys bring to the
Yeah, we're
table.
going to take a little break, though. Okay.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. This is like, in the middle of the show, just like we want to have like a little bit of a change of, conversation. You please have lunch. Have lunch while we're doing this.
I won't be
Okay?
the only one.
No, go eat.
Yes.
Really good, by the way.
All right.
Yes, and so today what we're really looking at in this segment, exciting opportunity to share with you a new personality that's going to arrive on the show today. Right?
Oh.
Wait 1 second. We'll get it all going. So just do a little.
Well, I just wanted to say that. All right, we've got something special going here. All right.
All right, so here we are.
Oh, hi everybody. Oh, thank you for coming, and I'm so excited because we are here at the Miss America pageant in New York. You didn't know it was in New York, but it's been moved from Atlantic City to West Chelsea. And we have one of the contestants with us today, and she is lovely. Oh my God, I love her. And she's going to tell us a little bit about what she thinks about the sharing economy and what she would do if she were voted Miss America. So, without further ado, let's talk to her. Miss Impact.
Hi. Hi. Hi.
Oh my gosh, you are lovely. You are more beautiful in person than you are on the screen.
Thank you.
Oh, and Miss Impact, I have a question for you because one of the important parts about the pageant, Miss America pageant, in any beauty contest, is really what you see, more than your beauty, what's your beauty within? Like, how would you give back to the world? So I want to talk to you a little bit about that.
The world is big. Yes, the world is big.
Yeah. Yes, the world is big. Thank you. No, and round, and it's round. Yes, we think it's round. Could be flat. But Miss Impact, I just have one question. We're talking about hunger. We're talking about homelessness. There are 60,000 people that are homeless in New York. 20,000 are kids. 2 million people are hungry in New York. If you were voted Miss America, what would you do to solve that problem? What could you do to solve that problem as Miss America?
Well, in my view, New York is big. I love New York, by the way. I love New York. New York is amazing. It's one of my favorite places in the whole world. And let me just tell you, hunger is a problem. And sometimes I'm hungry. Actually, I'm hungry a lot because I don't eat that much. But I definitely see that hunger is important. And one of the things that I see connected is hunger and homelessness, right? Right? And so homeless people are homeless. Yeah? And so now that we understand that they're homeless, then we can do things like, there are a lot of nail salons in New York. And so what we could have is we could have nail salons donate time for the homeless to get their nails done. Because then they would have their opportunity to better themselves.
Absolutely. That is such a brilliant idea. Thank you so much, Miss. I root for you. I hope you win. It's lovely to see you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Well, that was it. That was Miss Impact. She's so good. Back to you guys. Awesome. All right. Gosh, she's good. If Miss Impact were here in New York, I mean, wow. The nail
Let me
salon
just tell
would be
you.
busy.
I know, right? I'm trying to support microeconomy. She's trying to support.
Well, don't get too close to her, okay? Don't merge personalities. Sometimes, actors, they get too close to the character and they think
The method. The method.
No, actually, we're both Meisner trained actors. Meisner, I found that out after I knew him for like a year that he was Meisner trained, but that's very cool. Back to you. You are so awesome that I want to talk about what you did and what you do. You're an economist, literally an economist, right? You studied economics?
I did. I did undergrad in economics at Fordham, and then I stayed at Fordham and did my master's in development economics.
Development
Go
economics.
Fordham, by the way. I love Fordham.
Go Fordham.
They're awesome.
We love Fordham too. Yeah, go Fordham. We work with Fordham on a lot of projects. And as a matter of fact, we work with Fordham on a project to empower the city to come together as a community, which is really interesting because we'll definitely bring you a part of that. Something that we're going to do in December, and something we did in January, which was called the Make Impact NYC conference. But what you're doing is so innovative and so much part of the sharing economy to create an app. But let's say it was from something that occurred as a child really stimulated this. I'd love to find out where entrepreneurs come up with these ideas. Your parents were living in Romania when you were a child.
Yes.
And then they had to flee with you as a young girl.
Yes.
Flee the country to find political asylum in Austria, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And so you saw when you went back summers later, you saw the poverty there and it really disturbed you. I mean, but what's it like having everything taken away from you? And your mother was a doctor over there, right? And your father was an engineer. So you had your entire lifestyle ripped away from you. You went into Austria, and then they came to America. That's kind of the American dream again. And now you want to give back. You've gone to Fordham for 2 degrees in economics, which is pretty darn impressive. And developmental economics is really to talk about the ground roots, like the bottom of the pyramid economics.
Exactly.
So tell us a little bit about what you told me when we spoke the other day about what you saw in Romania when you would go back during the summer.
It was a really incredible opportunity to be able to grow up almost in 2 places, because I would be here for my schooling during the year, and then I would go to visit my grandparents because all the rest of my family, except for me and my parents, are over there. So I have a whole network of friends there. My grandparents are there, and I would spend every summer there. And our family is actually pretty well off, so I wasn't, living in the poverty. But, it is a third world country, and there are a lot of needs that aren't being met for the people that live there. And it was just very cool for me developmentally, I think, as a child, to be able to see that and witness it. Because it has an effect on you growing up, and you're just aware of something that you may not know if you just grow up in a bubble. In the suburbs in New Jersey, which is where I was half the time. Not to say that people don't know what's going on that live there, but to actually touch it and see it, it's completely different. Yeah. So that shaped me.
Have you seen Jersey Shore?
We're not talking Snooki here, okay? Now, stop.
Yeah. So that really opened my eyes, and I think when I began to study economics and I focused on it, and I became very aware of economic inequality, and I was able to define it in more academic terms, that's when it really became, a fixation for me to try to even out some of this stuff. And I didn't understand. I think I had a very childlike view of it, and I still do, why certain people were lucky to be born in a certain place and had stuff, and other people just weren't lucky and they were born somewhere else and they didn't have. And that's how I view inequality to this day. It's sort of,
it's really true.
A lottery.
That's actually really true. Inequality is a lottery at many, many, many times. It's pretty extraordinary. And you said that to me the other day, and I was really struck by that comment, which I thought was so, really summed it up, really perceptive. It was about these people were living in poverty for absolutely no reason at all.
Yes.
And what are the reasons, though? There are reasons for poverty. There are reasons for poverty, here. There are reasons for poverty elsewhere. What are some of the reasons that you're seeing in New York for hunger? Let's put it that way, since that's your field.
Most of the people that use these emergency food services, a lot of them are employed. A lot of them, have big families. A lot of them take care of elderly people in their families. A lot of them have children or disabled people in their families, or they are themselves disabled. Only 11% are homeless, actually. And 30% of the people that are homeless are mentally disabled, and they're not being taken care of. So there's a whole slew of reasons, and it's not what people like to think, that people are lazy or they take advantage of the system, which I'm sure happens very infrequently, but still, it's for real valid reasons, and a lot of them now are because of the economic crisis and all of the recent cuts, the cuts that have been made to the SNAP budget. Through, and back in November 2013, they cut $5 billion off the SNAP budget.
Yeah,
then they did it again in February. I couldn't believe
really?
it. Okay. $8.6 billion more.
Wow.
Through the Farm Bill from the SNAP budget. I mean, slashing people's ability to buy food, because they like to say that the recession is over. And so the money they pumped in to kind of help people when the economy crashed, they now are pulling out because they're like, oh, everyone's better, but they're not. So they're causing and putting a lot of stress on a system that's already broken. There wasn't enough food to begin with before they pulled out the money, and now there's definitely not. So I get passionate about it.
I'm pretty passionate about it too, because I feel like it's so humiliating for people. And I had seen the first time I really thought about food insecurity in America was I think it was like 5 years ago, and it's gotten worse since then. It was like some 60 Minutes show. I mean, believe it or not, it was like 60 Minutes, and they were talking about how this family, and it was a man and his wife, and they had like 4 little kids, about how he was probably in his 40s and he looked like he was 60, and he said, I work 2 jobs and I cannot feed my children. And the guy started tearing up. I mean, and she was working part-time because they had young children, and the kids were tearing up. They're like, yeah, we go to school because that's where we eat. And I thought, and they were at the food bank, and they were getting food stamps, and they still couldn't survive on it. And when I did the numbers here in New York, a family of 3 to 4 gets $319 a month for food. I mean, that's like, sometimes that's somebody going out to dinner with a couple of people,
yes.
right? And that's pretty
That's why
average,
I plugged
right?
into the restaurant industry.
Yeah.
Aside from the fact that it's intuitive that you're going out to eat in New York and you're helping a New Yorker eat, I mean, it doesn't get more fluid than that, but so much money exchanges hands in this industry. It's insane. I bartended, all through undergrad and grad school. I saw people drop like $1,000 in a night just buying shots for their friends. It was obscene.
Amazing.
And to capture a little bit of that, and not asking for like a big percentage, but to capture a little bit, it turns out being a lot of money in the end if we could really inspire people to round up.
Well, I think that people will be inspired. I think people are looking for something to do, that makes a difference, that makes an impact. And I really do. I really think that it's really ingenious with your idea. I think it's really important. I want to see you succeed. We all want to see you succeed. Do you think this is amazing that you're doing?
Well, my question to you is, what has been
Take
your
the mic.
challenge?
Take the mic.
What has been your challenge on having the people engage in your app?
Well, so we just launched our app, our beta version of our app, and we are promoting it, sort of, but we recently partnered with a major app development company named Fueled. They're very big, and their founder, Ramit Chawla, who is like the superstar in the tech scene in New York right now, he is our new co-founder, and he has donated resources to build us a brand new, shiny,
because
phenomenal
you don't have a tech
technology.
Background. This is like not
No,
something.
I don't. And a very good friend of mine helped me build the beta version.
Right.
His company is Breadbooks. Just mention him as well. But to have an entire company behind you, especially if we're trying to acquire the number of users that we're getting, we want to have that support. So we will be launching a campaign in August to really push the September 1st launch of our new app. And over the summer, I'm just trying to acquire restaurants because I think it'll be really fun for people if they can go to
I think everybody's going to
big
sign
name
on to
spots,
it,
and
totally. I think this
so.
is huge. And I think that it solves, I don't know how much, like, rounding it up. I told you to go ask them to double it.
I know.
I'm like, double it.
No, here's a simple piece of it. People eat out often. So if you can connect people donating more often, their long-term giving is going to be more
Exactly.
than them giving $10 and then going, well, I gave
Exactly.
$10. They will feel that $10, even though they might go out 10 times over the course of a month and round up each time and eventually give almost that same amount. That $10 they give once is psychologically so different, I think.
I totally agree. And I don't know if you can pull up that slide that you had up there before, but I did backwards math. I looked at, what's the meal gap right now? It's 235 million missing meals, 50% of which are in the Bronx, by the way. Crazy. I live in the Bronx too. But I figured out that if we could get 10% of New Yorkers to round up 144 times a year each, so that's roughly like once every other day, right? Something like that. If they could do that, we could close the meal gap in a year, and each person's donation would be under $72. It's on the year. That's not going to break anyone's bank.
Okay, that's
that
what
would
an
be
economics
amazing.
degree at Fordham does. That's how it works. Okay, well, it's good to know school's worth something. That's really beautiful. No,
So
I'm
we
kidding. I'm telling you, we're excited about it. I love it. I think it's great. Even the concept of closing the meal gap.
Could you imagine if a city
that'd
could
be
close
great.
its own meal
That would
gap?
be great.
What
Yes.
kind of positive externalities could come out of that too?
Yeah.
Just having that mind shift where you're like, oh my God, we did this as a community. Now New York is a village. You know, it's not.
New York is a village.
And it
We
can
are.
be more. Yes, yes.
What
It
we're
should be
doing
more.
actually in the fall, which was what we did in January, we'd love you both to be there and be part of it and be on some of the panels and speak to people, and we've got lots to talk about. But and we can't talk about all of it, but we can tell you we're one of our passions is to bring New York City together as 5 boroughs. It's not just Manhattan, it's not just Brooklyn, which is very cool. The Bronx is up and coming. The entrepreneurs up there are amazing. Fordham's doing a tremendous amount up there, and so is City University. Queens got a whole tech entrepreneurial co-working space that's coming up now. They have the kitchen, which is foodpreneurs, and because of the financial crisis, all of these entrepreneurs are really moving to the forefront. And also, by the way, Staten Island has this incredible program called the Makerspace. We had them at our conference, and they were just tremendous about crafts and about sort of going back to tradition, having creating products by your hand and selling them, which is basically what Etsy did. Handmade items. Etsy really created something that's been going on forever. It used to be in the Middle Ages, they would have these sales. They would just, the way people shopped, believe it or not, they shopped, and they would just have markets, open markets, which we still have sometimes now at resort places. But they would have an open market, and you would sell your wares, and Etsy took that concept, that idea, and plugged it on the web, which is what is really the sharing economy, is taking old ideas, which this is really an old idea, throwing change in a cup, but it works, and modernizing it, putting it on an app, putting it online. This is just incredible. So I have a present for you guys.
Absolutely, and I just want to add one little piece to that. There's a really important technological component to this, which people oftentimes overlook, and that is really the fact that none of this stuff, or a lot of this stuff, we couldn't do if there wasn't a fabric of the internet through our lives, because it connects people anywhere in the world who can get access to the internet, which is becoming easier and easier with mobile devices now. So that's the underpinning of this amazing component that we've now started to call sharing economy. And that's my view on it. Really.
I have something to share before your lunch gets completely cold, and we're going to sign off and eat soon. I wanted to give you this because this is from my garage sale, and I don't know if you're a Jets fan, but nobody was at my garage sale, so it's for you.
So we're getting
The leftovers.
Yes, I'm sharing my economy. Nobody wanted it.
Oh my God.
No, I have something for her.
Oh, that's all yours.
Oh, you're getting change.
You're going to get some spare change.
Oh, nice. I'm going to donate it.
That's my first contribution.
Thank you.
And that's what.
Look at that. How many people did you feed here?
I don't know how many.
33 cents, You fed a
33
couple
cents.
people.
I'm feeding like 5 really tiny people. They're like hobbits. And for you, I have something special for you, but I have to show it to you. This is something that I found that I didn't know I had that I knew you'd love. It is a grow your own cowboy. He's rough and tough, but he's always a gentleman.
Oh my God.
You put him in water and he grows like
600 times?
600 times.
Wow.
All right.
Well,
All right.
share
All
the
right.
cowboy.
Yes. Who has their own cowboy that grows? I mean,
know.
we don't want to ask that question, right? That's not a good question. All right,
Just add water.
just add water.
Just add
All right,
water.
last thing I want to say before we have a final moment for Miss Impact is that thank you guys for coming. You're awesome. I want to see you again. I want to see you when you launch. I want you to come on and talk because I know you do a lot of activism with New York City government. We want to hear about that. Love what you're doing. Love it. I mean, I think
so
it's
much.
revolutionary. I love it. It's so exciting, and that's part of doing the show, is like getting excited about entrepreneurs and innovators who are really doing cool stuff. But next week, if you guys tune in, we are doing a show called The F Word.
Cool.
The F Word is funding your own small business. And we actually have somebody from the Bronx coming on, Argo Fund. He's brand new. He's supported by Springbank, and we have Kiva Zip coming on, and they're going to talk about how to fund your own business. But lastly, I want to say that Miss Impact, you were marvelous. Was she marvelous? I mean,
I love the nail.
all right, here you go. So you can
Yeah.
cheer for her. Everybody cheer for her. You got one of those. All right, Miss Impact, you've been crowned. Here she is, Miss America. And thanks everybody for coming. Oh, do the wave. Do the wave. Do the wave. All right, the nails. Oh my God. think of the nail salons in New York that you're putting to business. Thanks for coming. Awesome. Oh, we're never going to get this wig off him. Ever. That's my Barbie wig. Yeah, thank you. All right, give it a rest, Miss Impact. Goodbye.
I'm late. We have to show. So this is what it's actually missed impact, right? So we missed this opportunity.
She missed
But
this
here I am.
opportunity.
Here's my picture. I look great. There we go.
All right, cool.
Amazing.
You look amazing.
Totally.
Totally. Let me see it through the glass. Ah, even better. All right. See you next week, Monday, 3 o'clock, the F word. Okay. Ciao. Thank you, Miss Impact. Thank you, Andra. Thank you, Evelyn.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Drive Change. We love you. Okay, we love you. Jordan, thank you. Guys, thank you. Yeah. Oh, she's going to shake her shot because we have to go dark now. It's
Absolutely.
censored.
Bye.
Bye.